Bob Phillips, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I appreciate you having me on, Russell.
And I appreciate you being here. Bob Phillips, a great comedian out of Detroit. For some reason, I resonate with these Detroit comedians. T.J. Worry, Dave Landau, also guests of the program. What is it about Detroit comedians that makes them so damn funny? Is it because it's a shithole and comedy helps you cope with it, or how's it work?
Well, I guess nobody's actually really from Detroit anymore. We're all from sort of somewhere outside of that. Now Detroit's making a pretty good comeback, so I'm pretty proud of the city. But there is something, I think, to be said for groups of Midwesterners coming together to, find the funny in things. There's a lot of really good comedy in and around Detroit, Michigan. I guess what's the common denominator? I'm not sure. A lot of cold winter months where you got nothing better to do but some crack on what's happening in the world.
Or do drugs.
Do drugs. I'm past that, but I must say that I was a part of that at one point.
Were you funnier as a drug user and doing comedy?
No, in fact, I've never used drugs as a comedian. This was long before I ever got in this crazy business.
So you've had a job before?
I've had a job, yeah. Yeah, a legitimate job, right?
What is it about comedy that you love? Was it a lifelong dream of yours, or do people just say, man, you're funny, you should try stand-up?
Yeah, it really was a lifelong dream of mine. I remember, as a kid, I would sit with my dad in the living room, and he would spin Cosby records. Now, we all know where that's gone, and so there's a whole different kind of feeling about that now. But the guy was funny, and he was clean, so I was able to listen to that with my dad. And then later on, I would sit and listen to like Bob Newhart, and then further on down the line, it was George Carlin when he allowed me to hear the swear words and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I always dug it. I was fascinated by it. I was fascinated by the whole thing. And people who get into comedy, yeah, they don't do it overnight. They grow up sort of steeped in it in their heads, and then they hear it a lot. Hey, you're funny. You should do this. You should do that. You should go into comedy. And I heard that a lot too. And so eventually you hear that enough, and you say, okay, I'm going to take a stab at this, and you find an open mic, and away you go.
Yeah, but it's as much of a writing job as it is a performance, right? It's not like I know a lot of funny people, myself included, but I'm not a comedian.
Well, it is definitely a writing job. It's that before it's anything else. I think every comedian I know approaches writing in a different way, and I'm not so much a writer as I am just sort of an observer and a rememberer. I never write anything down. I've never committed pen to paper to write a joke. It's just something strikes me as funny, and I'll roll it over in my head and go find something else that sounds funny and speak it out loud. And I'm a runner. I like to run, so I'll kind of go over that as I run and find the funny spots and then work it out on stage.
So you don't have a pad of paper there on the stool. I see that a lot, and they're looking at the notes.
No.
I've always found it to be a little unprofessional, just personally.
Well, yeah, you should never bring paper on stage. If you're an open micer, okay, that's fine, because, it's hard, even your first 5 minutes, to remember them, to remember the what goes before what and what comes after, and the pacing and some of the punchlines. So, yeah, unless you're an open micer and you're trying to remember your first 5 minutes, I don't see there's any reason to bring paper on stage. I get really bummed if I go see a performer and they've got paper that they're referring to.
You see it all the time here in Vancouver. It's quite common.
Professional comedians?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that sucks. I remember one time, this is probably 10 years ago, one of the most disappointing shows I saw was Richard Lewis. And I love Richard Lewis. The material itself was not disappointing. He's still funny as hell. But he had a piano on stage, and he doesn't play the piano. So there was no reason for it to be there except to have his notepad that he would, surreptitiously, sidle up to and put his elbow on the piano and look down at the notes. And he didn't think anybody saw that. That really bummed me out.
I find that he's touch and go. I've seen him bomb a few times, to be honest with you.
Well, he's got that, he's very, very angsty and a nervous guy. I mean, that's at least the act. I don't know.
Yeah, another guy like that is more feisty is Lewis Black. Never really dug the material though, but it was delivered really well.
It's all in the delivery with Lewis, I think, because his funny is his persona. He's just completely out of his mind with rage about things, and that's what gets the laugh. It's not. You're right. It's not always a joke or a specific punchline.
So you grew up listening to Bob Newhart, Carlin, Cosby. You mentioned pacing.
Yeah.
These comedians utilize pacing. No one more so than Cosby. A little too much for my liking.
Yeah.
How does this relate to your comedy, or is it a different time? Do you need to hit the joke faster?
Well, everything. Timing is everything in comedy, and you could use it interchangeably with pacing, I think. But for me, for my act, it's very important. For some others, it may not be. But my act kind of is a little bit slower and unfolds at maybe a slower pace than some guys. I'm not one of these guys that freaks out about jokes per minute, the old JPM measurement. I tend to just kind of talk with the crowd and let it all flow out of that. But
just to cut you off there, Bob, jokes per minute. Dangerfield, for example. I mean, what would he have?
Yep.
20 jokes a minute out of 15? I don't know, a lot, right?
Yeah, he could easily have 10, 12 jokes per minute.
It wears on you after about 20, 30 minutes. I don't know if you've...
That was a style that not everybody was hip to, although I dug it.
I love it too, but after like an hour-long show of one-liners, it's you want a bit of a story. So pacing is important.
Yeah, especially if you're not going to be a one-liner comic, and there's very few of them anymore. Maybe that's because it's sort of evolved into a different thing where, storytelling has really become kind of the thing. And I was thinking when you brought up pacing again, there's a different pacing to different venues. Like Dave Lando and I did a show that was called the Dow Event Center in Saginaw, Michigan, and it seats, I want to say, 3,000 people. So it's sold out, and I can't tell you how many hundreds of clubs and one-nighters and things I've done over the years, but to do big theater shows like that, you have to adjust your pacing, because when you're in a club, you got maybe 250 people, and the laughs come up quick and then they die off pretty quick. But when you're in front of that many people, the laughs come at you in waves, and you have to let them roll, and you have to let it dissipate before you go into your next joke. So a 45-minute set on a comedy club stage, say you get out 100 jokes, that same show on a large stage like that, you might get out 70 because of the time you have to take to let the laughs roll and die down so you can jump into the next one.
So therefore your material must be that much stronger.
It's got to be stronger, and you can expect to do less. I mean, if you're having a bad show, it can be, you have to keep rolling out the jokes.
If you're having a bad show, do you adjust it and go to crowd work? I mean, obviously you're going to go to your standards if you see that if you feel that you're bombing. But
yeah,
is switching to the audience as a form of relief? Is that something you do?
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes I try not to make it obvious, because then, comedy audiences are pretty savvy. If they feel that your material isn't hitting with them, and then you all of a sudden just go, "Hey, where are my married people?" They're like, "Okay, this is a device." So you kind of have to slip it in the back door, I mean, everybody's bombed. Everybody's tasted that awful fucking lingering taste of defeat, where 45 minutes feels like 3 days. And so you have to do something. You can't just, if you just keep plowing through your material. I mean, that's professional. I've seen many people do that, but yeah, I always try to do something different to break the spell of the awfulness instead of just sitting in a wet diaper.
What's the best act you've seen this year?
The best act I've seen this year, let's see. Well, I've seen a lot of really funny guys and women. I want to say I rewatched the latest Chris Rock special. It was where he was in 3 different locations. I think one was South Africa, one was New York, and I forget the third. And it sort of cut back and forth, and he was doing the same jokes in each of the venues, but he would do the setup, say in South Africa, and then the punchline would be the one he was doing in New York, right? And so it was really interesting to see how they work that. And I mean, he's one of my favorites anyway. So, but live, let's see, Bryan Regan. I'd say Bryan Regan is my all-time favorite comedian. He's just a fucking genius.
The best act I saw all year was Brian Callen.
You liked him, huh?
I loved him. I thought he was unbelievable. He was physical. He was smart. He can do impressions. He was hilarious.
Yeah, he's got a lot of tricks in his bag. He's a talented guy.
You know, another great special on Netflix, and that's where comedy's going, right? That's the dream now, is to get the Netflix special all of a sudden. I mean,
right.
HBO, you got to be like Chris Rock or somebody. But Netflix is making this accessible for people. Ari Shaffir.
Yep, very funny.
Did you see that? It was a great act.
No, I did not see the Netflix special, but I'm a fan of Ari's.
You got to watch it, and the audience has to watch it. It's really great. I don't know the name, but Netflix Ari, and yeah, that's where it's going. Now, do you have to apply? Do you go to the producers? Like, is that something you're angling for?
Yeah, I mean, everybody would like to do that. There's a really good thing about having so many more outlets like that to do comedy. I mean, Comedy Central came along, 15 years ago, 20 years ago? That was such a new concept, and all kinds of stand-ups got exposure there. And Netflix is doing this, and because there's so much time to fill. There's so many channels, there's so much media that they're looking for inexpensive ways to build an audience. And stand-up comedy has always been one of their go-to things, So yeah, I mean, I'd love to do that. That'd be a big deal of mine. I'm looking forward to getting back on the Artie and Anthony show. I believe in October. I don't have the date yet, so that'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, Ali and I are negotiating something for November or December.
Nice.
I'm terrified of Artie Lang. If Anthony Cumia isn't quick enough, now it's Artie.
Artie is one of the quickest people in the business.
I'm looking forward. I think this is going to be the second golden era of the Anthony Cumia show.
Probably, yeah. I mean, those two are hilarious.
You'll never have a bad show.
No. Mm-mm.
Why wear suits, Bob? Most comedians I've spoken to, they wear something very simple, a plain shirt, jeans, just not to be distracting.
Yeah.
Keep it about the jokes, not your outfit.
Right.
I know we're all looking for an angle. Why the suits? Or do you just feel better in a suit?
Well, I feel in a suit how most people feel in jeans and a flannel shirt. It's what I grew up in, and I was in the business world for a long time. And then when I started comedy, it seemed that would be a natural way to just, extend that out because it's, was part of my personality. But I mean, over the years, it's really, I don't feel it and I don't see it. Although, did you read Steve Martin's book, Born Standing Up?
No.
An excellent book. And he doesn't give a whole lot of advice, and he doesn't, try to, help the young up and comer with their career a lot. But what he does say, he says, it was always his impression that you should always look a little better than your audience. And, you know, he was always doing shows in a white suit and that kind of thing. And I don't do it to look better than anybody or anything like that. That I guess that the reason is I'm comfortable in it, and I feel like as an entertainer, I should put a little extra something into the show and in my attitude toward the audience. And if there's any, you know, if there's any benefit to wearing one, I don't know, maybe that there's a little bit of authority that comes along with a dude in a suit and tie. You know, maybe I don't know. I do make jokes about it, but it's just I can't tell. There's not really any one reason why I do it. It's just what I'm comfortable in.
You grew up in a large family, 8 kids, right?
Yes.
Is that why you're so funny? You had to stand out from the others to get attention, or?
Yeah, I think people who grew up in big families, especially like Catholic families, Jewish families. There's the big family, then there's the religion part of it, where there's all that stuff going on, where you have to behave in a certain way, and it's stricter than most upbringings. Yeah, you had to do something. I mean, I was the baby of the family. I was the 6th. And then I was the end. That's all they thought they were going to have. Well, then they had 2 oopses right in a row about 7 years later. And I looked around and thought, the fuck is this? Who are these people? How come they're getting the attention? I got to up my game. So, you know, I don't know if I did it consciously, but yeah, I started looking for ways to get that attention back. And by the way, my mother, she's passed on now, a wonderful lady, but a little bit of a sadist. She had 8 kids. She'd buy a box of 6 Pop-Tarts. That's no shit.
2 of the kids were going to starve, or survival of the fittest, right?
Yeah, she would just watch us fight it out on grocery day. We looked like rabid wolverines. It was ridiculous.
What kind of cereal did you eat growing up? I only got shredded wheat.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I had been really good, I could get all bran.
Well, okay, you had a little tougher than me. At least you had brand names. Those are brand name cereal. When you got 8 kids, you got 10 people in the family, you get the shitty off-brand stuff. In fact, Dave Landau has a great joke about that. He calls the giant bag of trailer puffs, and that's pretty much what you get with 8 kids. You get whatever the hell is on sale, whatever is near the expiration date. No branding, no nothing.
Just anything that they can puff and throw in a bag.
Anything. Oh, yeah. I remember being a kid going over to my friend's house. They got Count Chocula. They got Frankenberry. I got, you know, off-brand shredded wheat and whatever, you know, artificial sweetener my sisters were using that I could put on it.
I've never in my life had a Fruit Loop or a Lucky Charm or a Count Chocula or any of these things.
Well, I did later on in life. I was determined when I got out on my own. I would enjoy those things, and
like Seinfeld says, I'm an adult now. If I want a cookie, I'll have a cookie.
That's exactly it. Well, my mother actually. This is this is Irish wisdom. I remember asking her one time. We never had anything good in the house. We never had any treats or things like that because there's just too many kids and too many bills to pay. We had exactly what we needed. We had dinners and lunch to take to school, but nothing great, no treats around. And I remember asking, I said, Mom, can I have a cookie? She says, we don't have any cookies. And I said, why don't you buy any cookies? And this is what she told me, because you'll just eat them. That's impeccable logic for a mother of 8, but for a 9-year-old, you're like, what the hell's going on in my life? I can't get a cookie.
You know what? They wanted us dead. They did. Smoking in the house all the time? Did your parents smoke in the house? Children of the 70s? Hell yeah, they did. Nobody around to tell them that they couldn't. Now they just send social services on your ass. Nobody cared back then. My parents smoked all the time in the house. Unfiltered Pall Malls, 24/7. Doors closed, windows down. Not even a ceiling fan going. We all had tumors by the time we were 5. Should have seen me my first day at kindergarten. I'm walking in, I'm like, excuse me, I'll take the desk by the window. Yes, one more thing. When do we nap? Smoking in the house. This was the era I like to refer to as when ashtrays were furniture. Remember the big triple-decker things you had? It was like an aircraft carrier in your living room. Or my mom going, hey, honey, the Johnsons are coming over. Let's empty out level 4. And smoking in the car. Did your parents smoke in the car? Goddamn right they did. Goddamn right. You should have seen us, 10 of us, bombing down the highway in the 1972 Rambler station wagon. It looked like a Jethro Tull concert in there. Smoking. We're all stacked up like cordwood in the back. Are we there yet? Shut up. Terrible existence. My father was always completely perplexed why I was throwing up in the back seat. He was like, hey, Betty, Bob looks a little green. Maybe we should roll the window down. Yeah, good idea, Bill. Not the big window, though. No, never the big one. That little fucking triangle thing. What the hell was that thing? It wasn't even a window. You didn't roll it down. You went, eh. And we're all lunging for the air. Pop-Tarts and air. That's all I wanted as a child. That was it. I had simple needs.
Dealing with stage fright, do you ever get it? Or did you, probably not now, but when you started?
Yeah, everybody got it initially. No, I don't have any stage fright anymore. I do get excited. I get a little butterflies if it's a new venue.
But that's good. You want a little bit of that. You want to be on the razor's edge, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have that feeling, then I don't think you're really ready to take the stage. I mean, you got to have a little something behind you, spurring you on to make you want to do better than the last show. A little bit of nervousness is a good thing.
I've got a lot of fears. I got a fear of women, a fear of success, a fear of heights, a fear of bees, fear of doctors, fear of friends, everything. I got every fear in the fear index, right?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest was fear of roller coasters.
Really?
Absolutely. But I realized I have to start conquering my fears. Last week I went to the park here and I did 2 roller coasters. And I started crying on the way up, to the very top. And my girlfriend's there. Everything's going to be okay, Russell. It's okay. Don't touch me. Fuck off. Just shut up. Don't touch me. But you get through it and it works and it's great. So it must be kind of the same thing. There's this fear and then you do it. And at the end of it, there is such an elation or a reward. It's really worth the experience. Oh
yeah, I mean, comedy is the best sex there is. It's the best to me. It's the best experience you can have outside of doing a whammy with a woman of your choice. It's you get the build up. You get to get up and work the crowd, see how the things you've written, the things you put together, the thoughts you've had, and the way you've put it all together, how that affects the crowd. You see the smiles on people's faces. That's a rush like no other.
Boxers, they abstain from sex during training.
Yes. I was a boxer back in the 80s.
Because women weaken legs.
That's right. Mickey.
Right, Mickey. And I've done some boxing training, and most trainers believe this. Do you feel abstaining from sex helps you in comedy? Have you ever implemented that, or do you crank one off before the show?
Hopefully, my wife takes care of that for me before the show. But everybody's been known to crank one off if you have to. I don't know. I don't know that it has much effect one way or another. To tell you the truth, at least it hasn't for me.
You are nude, though, as we speak.
I am nude, yes, and I'm nude, and I'm in a leather chair, and I'm enjoying the feel of the leather against my naked buttocks. I'll be, when the show's over, I'll be peeling myself off of here and trying to recreate that feeling in bars and hotels ever afterward.
Like a fruit roll-up.
That's kind of what it's like.
You like boxing, eh? That's very cool. I have a new boxing show. The Russell Scott Boxing Hour starts September 13th. We've got some huge boxing guests. It's going to be myself, Eric Lorta, Joe Habib. We're taking live call-ins.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Would you like to call in sometime? We'd love to hear from you.
I would absolutely like to call in. I was a Golden Glover in the early 80s here in Detroit. And I didn't have a lot. I think I had 10 fights. It was fun. I was a good fighter. I wasn't good enough to win it all. I went to the semifinals one year and lost a split decision. But, I gave it what I had, and I don't have any regrets.
I trained at Morris Park, at the Morris Park Boxing Club in Bronx.
In the Bronx?
Yeah, last month when I was...
fantastic.
The Bronx is great. I don't know if you've been there. But it took me about 3 days before I realized, I'm the only fucking white guy here.
Took you 3 days, huh?
Yeah, it took me 3 fucking days. Some of the Hispanics will throw you for a loop. You're not absolutely sure. But it didn't bother me. Everybody's really cool.
Yeah, I've never had, and I still spar every now and again, and I still work out. I've never had an issue with any of that in any gym I've ever been to. People are the boxing crowd is very cool. For as violent a sport as it is, some of the gentlest people I've ever known are boxers because they leave it in the ring. So
I was at this pizza joint. I had pizza all over New York. By the way, New York, it's true. They have the best pizza. Oh,
hands down. Did you get to Grimaldi's? Did you go to Brooklyn? Did you get to Grimaldi's?
I never hung out in Brooklyn at all. When I got off the So I get off the plane and I get a cab. I have nowhere to go. My Airbnb doesn't start until the next day. Here I was thinking I'm just going to hang out in JFK, but JFK is like a shithole on the arrivals side. There's nothing to do. It's just time to leave. So I figure, I'm going to get a cab to the nearest casino, hang out there, just check my luggage at the front. So I get a cab. This place is 5 minutes away, and it's taken 20 minutes. He's circling the Van Wyck. I've now seen him go around the same block twice. He's got a GPS in his hand. I go, listen, what the fuck is going on here? You're fucking me around. You're going around. And he goes, no, it's very difficult. Goddamn. I flipped out, right? And then all of a sudden, 2 minutes later, we're at the casino.
Yeah, those guys generally know where they're going, even if it doesn't seem.
Yeah, you're a fucking cab driver. You don't know where to fucking go. You asshole. Don't fuck with me, right?
Yeah, that's why I've switched to Uber.
Meanwhile, he's got my luggage. It was $42. I gave him a $50. He gave me $2 change, so he took his tip out, too.
Oh, okay, really? Okay, that's ballsy.
And only then I could get my luggage. This is my first experience going into New York. I get ripped off and fucked over by the cab driver.
He saw you coming. Vancouver boy.
I shouldn't have worn my Vancouver hat and shirt and,
I'm surprised you had time to come here. Or don't you guys spend most of your time manning the wall, keeping out the White Walkers up there?
Oh, you mean all the Trump refugees?
The crows on top of the wall? Yeah, there's, do you have some Trump refugees up there?
Apparently. I've never seen them, though. I'm thinking they're a pretty sad case for a refugee, My family came here after the Russians invaded Hungary. Those are refugees. Not liking Trump and wanting to get out of town, that's not a refugee, I'm sorry.
Oh, you mean the stars who said they'd leave when he was elected and they'd all go to Canada?
You're right, the Lena Dunhams and all the liberal, no.
Yeah, she's fucking Lena Dunham is still there, grossing people out every time she takes her clothes off on camera.
Yeah,
she should be deported for crimes like that and others
against humanity. And then all of a sudden I find myself in Queens and I'm walking around. I got virtual reality equipment and fucking hard shell cases, and I find myself in Queens at 3 in the fucking morning.
By yourself?
By myself, of course. I find myself a diner. They're like, okay, you can hang out here for a couple hours. It's not safe until about 5. Another night, I found myself in Harlem at 3 in the morning. I knew I was fucked when I saw Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Oh, that's always a bad sign. So I got a question for you, Russell. Have you ever thought about a hotel when you visit a large city like New York?
Yes, but the hotels were very expensive. I got my Airbnb for $500 for 11 days.
So they didn't let you in? You had to wander around diners and subway stations at night?
Listen, I fucked up with the booking, okay? And I thought New York, it's a city that never sleeps. There'll be something to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, I have this paranoia of the city. It took me a while before I really got the trust going. And one day I'm at this pizza place. I've just finished my pizza, and I'm about ready to leave, and I'm just walking out the door, and this black guy who looks like Flavor Flav fucking stands up, and he's got gold chains and fucking rings on every finger. And he says, "Hey, who was sitting here?" And I fucking just about shit. And everybody's sort of looking up at him, right? Who was sitting here? Me. He says, you were sitting here? Yeah. Sticks out his hand and he hands me my money clip with about $600 on it.
Oh.
He goes, that's why I asked that way, because I wanted to make sure it was the right guy.
Didn't you feel like a dick afterward?
Well, you can't judge people.
He's trying to help you out, and you're like, please, sir, don't bludgeon me to death.
You enjoy New York? Is it?
Yeah, I dig New York. It's really my favorite place to go. I love it.
Yeah. What's crime like in Detroit?
If you came to Detroit, there are some really cool places, and it's really bouncing back. We have a brand new hockey arena opening. I think it's tonight, or what was it, yesterday? I don't know. The football stadium is like 10 years old. The baseball stadium, maybe 15. There's a whole area. The theater district is popping up. Greektown is a lot of fun. The casinos. There's a hell of a lot of cool restaurants down there and a lot of shopping that's popping up. So, yeah, Detroit's really making its way back.
So you would recommend someone visiting Detroit?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I was just down there for a wedding a couple weeks ago, and we were all over the place. The wedding was at one of the older churches there, and then the reception was at a hotel in Greektown and near the casino, one of the casinos. So we walked back and forth and just had an absolute blast. No trouble, no nothing.
Well, there you go. I'm going to put Detroit on my list. I think
put it on there, man. Motown. There's a lot to see in Motown. If you come here, I'll take you to Kronk Boxing. That's where
that's Emanuel Steward's old gym, right?
Yep. Tommy Hearns came out of there. I actually sparred there twice. I went when I was a younger man, and just to get practice with different people, because when you're in a particular gym, you get used to everybody you fight with, and so you got to go to different places and different competition. And I'm telling you, man, that was a serious place, and they took it very seriously. One of the highlights of my youth. I remember. Now I think I was 22 my last fight, and so this was probably, I think I was 19. I went down to Kronk, and they said, "Okay, everybody, let's get started." So there's probably 20 boxers down there. Everybody's getting down, doing their sit-ups and their push-ups and all this stuff, and leading us through these exercises. And this goes almost an hour, and I'm gassed. I want to puke. I thought I was in good shape, right? The guy says, "Okay, that's it for the warm-up." and all us white guys are like, what? Warm-up? What the fuck, man?
But they were doing the 3 minutes on, 30 seconds off, right?
Everything is 3 minutes on, 60 seconds off, yep. But a solid hour of that. Yeah, I thought I was doing great. Yep, I got through the warm-up.
Well, I was at Morris Park Boxing Club in the Bronx. I just said that a while ago. That's where Mitch Green is around that area.
Mitch Blood Green, the guy who allegedly clocked Tyson good in the streets.
No, it's the other way around. Tyson cold-cocked him in front of the club, and Mitch Green fucking had the worst fucking looking black eye you've ever seen.
I thought the second half of that story was that when Tyson came around again, Blood got him. Maybe that's bullshit. Yeah, I heard that. I don't know. Who knows, right?
You see, Tyson always had an entourage, right? So I'm thinking Tyson went in there, got his cheap shot in, and fucking got it the fuck out. But I'm going to look into that story. That's interesting. So I did about 10 rounds of sparring.
Wow, that's more than I did in a foreign gym. Hell, that's way more. I'd go 3.
And, I was gassed real bad. And it took every bit of fortitude that I had to get my wraps off and get the hell out of that gym before I puked in the courtyard right next to it with the Virgin Mary right there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of puking going on outside of boxing gyms.
Oh, good, because, it was slightly embarrassing.
No, don't be embarrassed. If you went 10 rounds, you're entitled to puke.
So there I was, curled up in the fetal position for I think another hour. It was quite horrible.
Well, you survived it, brother. Not many people can say that.
Like to play the blackjack. You guys like going and playing the blackjack? Nobody's playing cards in here. All right. That's what you want when you ask a question on a DVD taping. Total fucking silence. My fault. I should know better. I should know. This is called polling the audience. This is kind of a no-no among comedians when you're taping. You don't ask anything. Do your fucking jokes. Leave. We're going to start that again. I love blackjack. Who gives a shit? I don't care. Blackjack, frustrating game. If you played it, you know what I'm talking about because you can get the very name of the game. You can get an ace in a face, right? Or a 10 and an ace and not win. Because if the dealer gets an ace in the face, that's a push, that's a tie, that's nothing. Get the hell out of here. First time I ever got a blackjack, I'm out in Vegas about 20 years ago. I'm high-fiving people around the table going, yeah, it's me. Dealer flips an ace in the face and goes, oops, you had premature blackjaculation. I'm so embarrassed. I'm sorry. Did I get any on you? I was just so excited. This read my first time. Yeah. I like to bring a good luck charm with me when I go to the casino. I like to bring a rabbit's foot. I rub that for luck. And I saw a woman today. She had a camel toe. It was a little weird, I'll be honest with you. I don't know how the hell she got that thing on a keychain.
Dennis Rodman, right? He's this sort of unofficial U.S. envoy to North Korea.
Yeah, these are strange days we're living in. I mean, and imagine how the quality of humanity has plummeted over the millennia. That Donald Trump and Dennis Rodman and Kim Jong-un hold the keys to our survival. It's just it's unbelievable to me, you know. And I think he made that announcement today. Rodman did in a fucking gold lame muscle shirt. Did you see that?
No, I haven't. Actually.
Yeah.
What's the announcement?
He's just that he wanted to be involved and try to help Trump talk with Kim Jong-un. And you know what? At first blush, you think, oh, that's ridiculous. I mean, we got to have some professional negotiators. We can't let this devolve into this. Then I thought, it's already devolved. It's already a fucking circus. Why not? You know, let him be our special envoy to North Korea. And he just goes over and says, listen, you know, this is what the president wants. How about it? I'll play a little basketball with you, and everything will be okay. I mean, it wouldn't be any weirder than what's going on, is what I'm saying.
So let's say Trump approaches you or one of his surrogates. Kellyanne Conway knocks on the door and she says, I'd love to have you as the new envoy to North Korea.
Yeah.
And they put the suit on and you go over there. What would you say to Kim Jong-un?
There's no joke in this. I would tell him, look, man, you're just about dead. You're in the crosshairs. We know what you want. You want money. You want the sanctions lifted. So just play fair, and nobody will kill you. But all this shit's got to go. All this nuclear stuff's got to go. What he wants, I mean, look, I'm just a flippant comedian, but I mean, it's pretty clear he's making all these threats because his regime is threatened. People are getting hungry. The sanctions are biting down, and he wants to get away from that. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's all I can think of. I'm no diplomat.
What would you say to Donald Trump if you could get him in private?
To Donald Trump, I would say to him, you're a mook. What's your problem? Stop acting like an asshole. Let's put some dignity and professionalism back in the presidency. And I would tell him truthfully, you got the job, man. You don't have to puff out your chest. It's all yours. Just do the right things for America. He's an odd duck. I think they said something the other day. I just read a story the other day where a couple of different news organizations came together and said that only 5% of what he has stated since being in the White House is actually true. I mean, he's a strange man. I don't think that the world has ever really seen anything like him. He's just an inveterate liar. I think he does love his country. I think he does care, but more than that, he cares about his image. That's always first and foremost. So I don't know. Listen to me. I'm bloviating. I told you earlier in the show I didn't want to do that. I've already done it. I'm pontificating about politics.
I got within 10 feet of Donald Trump when I was in New York.
Did you?
Yeah, it was completely by coincidence. I was walking by Trump Tower. There was Secret Service everywhere. And then all of a sudden the procession came with 20 cars, and fucking Trump was in one of them.
Wow.
And I was right there next to it. Was weird. It was just timed,
Years ago, I went to see a Super Bowl. It was in Minneapolis. I think it was '94, and it was the fourth loss in a row for the Buffalo Bills thing, and Dallas kicked the shit out of them. And I was standing on the concourse watching all the stars go by, and Donald Trump was there, and he was dragging Marla Maples behind him like she was like a doll. And no, she was literally trying to keep up, and she was kind of falling in her high heels. He didn't give a shit. He's like, "We're out of here." And he's a big dude. I guess he's probably 6'3".
Well, he needs that for those forcible handshakes where he pulls you in, right?
Yeah. Tries that bullshit intimidation tactic. How'd you like to be Melania right now? Have you seen the pictures of her? She can't even look at the guy. She's so sick of that face and that anus mouth of his, and she just looks like she wants to kill herself rather than actually physically touch him. That's a horrific thought. If she's anything, if she's got any value to him at all, it's a roll in the hay 3 or 4 times a week. If other than that, he probably wouldn't keep her around.
Well, would you?
Jesus. Well, I mean, she's a gorgeous woman, and I'm sure she's got more going for her than he would ever let on. I mean, she's just the very definition of eye candy. And I used to think, she's a ditz, but I actually feel sorry for her now because she just clearly does not want to be there. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She's being forced into being some sort of spokesperson, as the first lady of the United States. And every time you see them together, she looks like she wants to vomit. He tries to touch her, and she recoils in abject horror. And I've gotten to really feeling sorry for her.
Bob Phillips, great conversation, sir.
Thank you. It's good being with you.
Tell the audience, maybe you know of some good up-and-coming comedians that maybe we could tune into, pay it forward. Who's next in line? Who's going to be a standout coming up soon?
Yeah, well, it just happens that he's from Detroit, but he could be from anywhere. He's one of the funniest guys out there. His name is Matt McLowery, and I was with him in New York when we did the Cumia show. Matt is an extraordinarily funny guy who is on the autism spectrum. He's got Asperger's, and obviously he's very high functioning. I hate even saying that. I hope he doesn't hear this and think the wrong thing, but he's an extraordinarily funny guy, dry as a popcorn fart, and hilarious. He's just got a very unique stage presence, and his jokes are all solid. They're all crisp. So, if you're asking me one guy, especially one that I know and really like, it's Matt McLowery.
Where can the audience expect to see you, Bob? Where do you like to perform? Are you just all over the United States?
Yeah, pretty much all over, wherever they send me. I'm going to be in the Great White North in a couple weeks at the Comedy Corner in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Then I'm going to be I've got a show at a marijuana dispensary party out in Ann Arbor, and then Michigan, and then I've got the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, I believe in November, and then MGM Casino sometime in December. I've got to update my website, but those will be on there soon.
And what's the website, Bob?
It is bobphillipscomedy.com, and Bob Phillips with 2 L's. There's jokes, hijinks, and silliness on there.
Let me ask you one last thing before I let you go, sir.
Certainly. No, you can't borrow money.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
What's the best joke you've ever told? And why do you think it landed so well?
Oh, the best joke I ever told? I'm not sure it's the best joke I ever told, but it's the oldest joke in the repertoire, and it's one of the first I wrote, and it always seems to work. And it's just about falling asleep in my lawn chair on my deck and having a few too many pops, and got really sunburned, lobster face. Not my biggest problem, though. No, my left nut was hanging out of my shorts. Bada boom. So there you go. There's that was one of the oldest ones in the book, and it's just one of those silly, surefire ones that I'm not always proud of, but it always winds up in the act somehow.
What the hell happened to Brad Pitt anyway, ladies? Rachel, what happened to Brad Pitt? Stop eating, I'm talking to you. What happened to Brad Pitt? He used to be my hero. He was the king of Hollywood, wasn't he? He had it all. He could do anything he wanted, anyone he wanted, anytime he wanted. Now he's like Angelina's little bitch boy, isn't he? It's true. Every time you see a picture of these two, you know, there's Angelina striding across the Kalahari Desert, got the flowing robes, the wind in her hair, looking hot. And there's poor Brad bringing up the rear with a diaper bag and a couple of orphan kids going, what the fuck happened to my life? I gave up Jennifer for this shit. I'll say this for Brad, though. If I had known that toting around a couple of refugee kids would get me a chick like Angelina, I'd have kept up the payments on those ones I bought from Sally Struthers. Yeah, I wasn't thinking, though, you know? I was 11. Didn't seem like an investment. Give me a break.